Hi, my whole review episode this week will be in two parts because I got a lot of comics. I didn't go the week before, so I had 2 weeks worth of comics to pick up. And it was a bad decision to leave it that long. There was about 23 comics in total. So what I've done, I've split it up into two parts. This part will be just DC. I have gone very predominantly DC now with the all-in thing what they got going on at the moment. My predominant comics what I buy now are DC, Image, predominantly Ghost Machine range of titles, and a smattering of other indies. But so I'm doing DC, but there's a number of comics I forgot to put two on what came during the week, which is the latest Catwoman 69. Quite a fitting number to start on. That's by Torren Grumbeck. I've forgotten who the artist is, but I highly recommend it. It's a really good jumping on point for Catwoman. It's gone back to like the Brubaker days where it's just a really good crime comic with really, really nice art. I can't remember who the artist is though at the moment. But yeah, I would give that an 8 out of 10. And also Batman and Robin Year One, by Mark Waid and Chris Samney. Gorgeous comic. I forgot that I hadn't reviewed them, so they're in my comic box and it's over there and I can't be bothered getting it. But yeah, another glorious comic, 10 out of 10, just a perfect Batman comic. And because I left 2 weeks, I didn't realise I hadn't put these on. I've got to put them on the list, or they'd sold out before, whatever. Anyway, so there's the new Nightwing launch. I think it's Nightwing 119, which has Dan Watters and who's the artist? Dexter Soy, I think, doing the artwork. So they'd sold out to that, and they'd also sold out to Absolute Wonder Woman by Kelly Thompson and Hayden Sherman. So all those 4 titles I've had to order online via a few comic sellers on eBay. So I'll be getting those next week. So I'll add those to my next week's comic review show. So it's going to be another big one next week because of that. But yeah, there's a stack still. There's about 11 DC comics here. So let's go and look at these in no particular order. So we'll start with Superman. So this is the first one of the all-in-one. So we've got Joshua Williamson still underwriting, but we now have Dan Mora doing the artwork with colouring by Alejandro Sanchez. Nice classic Superman cover. And who's that, you may ask? Read the comic and find out. I don't want to give too much away. It's pretty obvious who it is. I mean, come on, look at it. Okay, it's Lois Lane. If you remember in Absolute Power, at the end of it, some powers got shifted to the wrong people. So it looks like she's inherited somebody else's powers. So she's now Superwoman. The artwork, I mean, Dan Mora's fucking amazing anyway. That's French, by the way. I wasn't swearing, it's French. But he's elevated his game here. And it starts off quite confused. Oh, what's going on here? Then it jumps to now. So that's in the future. And now it's in present day. Beautiful, kind of like modern / classic Superman style of artwork. I love how he draws Lois. And I love this panel here where they both now as superheroes, they both get, there's a distress call, so they both get changed in the closet. And I just look like it's hey, hi. Like just silently grin to each other. Yeah, it's just, this is what you want in a superhero comic. I mean, look at that splash page. So dynamic. Superman should be top tier. He should be like, this is where Marvel are going wrong with Spider-Man. Spider-Man should be top tier. And they've got all they've just not got the quality on it. And he needs a team like this who can launch it into like the stratosphere, because this is just top-notch, pure superhero comics. Gorgeous spread that. Yeah, so it's just basically setting the groundwork for this new story arc. And a certain villain from the past reappears. So Doomsday reappears. But there's a really good plot twist, and I'm going to leave it there because you need to read this for yourself. It's $4.99, which is dear for a 22-page comic, but my God, it's dripping in quality. So in a way, I don't mind. It's just a beautiful, perfect superhero comic, which is driving me mad because there's too much good stuff coming out from DC now. So I've had to sacrifice a lot of other comics. I've stopped all Marvel apart from Namor, whatever, because I'm loving that series, which I'll come to next episode because I'll do that with my other comics. But yeah, this is just perfect. Am I going to do it? I'm going to do it. 10 out of 10. Really good. Quite possibly the best Superman comic since the golden days of John Byrne. And then we have All In, number 17 of Green Arrow. This is $4.99, but it's an extra sized issue because this is the transition one. So it's also legacy numbering 350. So this is where Joshua Williamson rounds up his storyline and then passes the baton on to Chris Condon, who is one of my favourite writers, modern day writers, who does That Texas Blood. If you've never read that, read it, it's fantastic. And Montos comes on the artwork. So it's a story, so there's two stories to it. So this wraps up the remnants of the fallout from Absolute Power. And basically it's just Joshua Williamson just saying, this is my story finished now, and putting things in place, giving it all the polish and the dust, ready for the new occupants to start writing the comic, which, like I said, is Chris Condon. But next week there's going to be a Green Arrow annual, which gives a bit of extras, tying up all the Joshua Williamson storyline. So there's a backup strip with the new ongoing writer and artist of Chris Condon and Montos. The artwork is very different in tone to the previous artist who'd done Green Arrow in this run. I really like it. It harkens back more to like the old school Green Arrow. By the old school, I mean like the Mike Grell days, and that is just amazing, that panel. So I'm hyped for Chris Condon coming on this. Very satisfactory wrap up of Joshua Williamson's run, and a very exciting hint of what's to come with Chris Condon on writing duties. So 9 out of 10. And people, you might think, why are you giving such good marks? Because they deserve it. And the thing is, if you're buying comics and you're not getting that same level of satisfaction from them, why are you buying them? Stop them and get something that makes you happy, like these are doing for me. And let's talk about comics that make me happy. So we've got this new series, Batman The Long Halloween, The Last Halloween, longest title in American comics, which is basically a storyline that Jeff Loeb had planned with Tim Sale, but sadly, of course, Tim Sale passed away a few years back. So he kind of like put it on the back burner, but then all of Tim Sale's like contemporaries and friends, artist friends, said, hey, why don't we do it? We'll do an issue each. Some people wish they could keep the same artist on each issue. I'm liking this, having a new artist each month. It doesn't throw me off a bit at all. Last time is Eduardo Russo, who's a great artist, and this time it's Klaus Janson. I'm a sucker for Klaus Janson, all the way from his inking Frank Miller back on the Daredevil days to The Dark Knight Returns and so on. I just love this, and especially there's a real standout page what really made me just smile, but I don't think I can find it now. Well, first of all, there's this amazing double spread, really, really good. I just love the raggedness to Klaus Janson's inking. Another person doing his inking style would look rough as shit, but for him, it's got such an energy and finesse to it. It's a masterclass in how to do inking. Here we go. Yeah, so the Penguin's like the main character in this one. I like these two double spreads. Really, really nice. But it's this page here. I love, by the way, how he draws Penguin with his little pointy teeth. It's this page. I'm sure that's a scene from the French Connection. I'm sure it's the tip of the hat to the French Connection. But I love that page. It's so dynamic. And again, Klaus Johnson is the perfect one for doing like gritty crime, noirish kind of art. So I loved this whole story. It's a great mystery. It fits the whole vibe of the previous Halloween series from Jeff Loeb, and it's a lovely tribute to what Tim Sale meant to these other artists. You can just feel the love that they have for him, and it's weird because not so. But I actually got a bit emotional reading it because I just knew, and especially when you read the backup interviews about why the artists are doing what they're doing and why they approach it a certain way, it just shows them what a respect they had for Tim. And yeah, I can't think of a nicer tribute than that. DC are really, really good at doing like projects that honour artists and writers who've passed away. They did it with Jack Kirby 100 was it, and they did that Commander series and other things, and they did stuff what Marvel should have been doing for Jack Kirby basically, and doing it now with Tim Sale. Hopefully they'll do something similar like this for John Cassidy. But yeah, I loved it. Again, 9 out of 10. Really, really good. And keeping into with the Batman theme, we have Batman Detective Comics. Gorgeous, gorgeous cover and gorgeous art inside. So it's by Tom Taylor writing, Michael Janin on art. Now the $4.99 books have now lost the backup strips, so it's a bit of a Marvel move, but it's like I said, I don't mind it when DC are keeping the teams together. I hate it when it's the only example I can use when Marvel, say for example the current X-Men titles, I've stopped all the X-Men titles, and the reason being I hate it how they just have the big name artist for one issue or 2 issues, then he's off for 3 or 4 issues, and then there's a fill-in artist who doesn't gel with the previous style, and it's like, what the hell? Why not just get them to do like a story arc and then get a fill-in artist for a 2-issue storyline and do it that way? But they don't. That's why I get Namor, because they've got the same art team all the way through. So I'm happy. I would love Marvel if they did that. It's what made me stop Ultimates, apart from Ultimate X-Men. But I've stopped that because I'm going to get that in book form, because it's a very slow-moving comic. Anyway, I've gone off on a digression. This is why it needs to be in 2 parts. Oh, help. Right, anyway, so Detective 1090, all in. So they've taken up the mantle, picks up the reins from Ram V, and instead of trying to ape Ram V's gothic sensibilities and the grand operatic, overarching, huge storyline what he had going on, Tom Taylor does a really good mystery instead, and it's fantastic. The art by Michael Janin is some of the most beautiful artwork I've seen on a Batman title in a long, long time, and I think it helps because he's doing the colouring as well as the art. This is what I've noticed with a lot of DC comics at the moment. The artists are doing the colouring as well. I'll come to another few in my batch here, but there's some really good flashbacks to about his dad when he was a doctor, and it sets up a premise where if Bruce Wayne's dad hadn't done a certain thing, him and his wife would still be alive today. So they're kind of like saying the onus is on Bruce Wayne's dad for a decision he made, which it reveals at the end of the issue, and it's a really good. I don't normally like retconning, but this one is a really good twist and tale, and I applaud it. I gave a little clap when I read it, which I'm a bit sad to do when you sat home reading the comic, but the dialogue, the pacing, the plotting is amazing. The artwork is top notch. This is why it works when you have an artist doing his own colouring. Look at the shadow and reflection on Batman there. Perfect nighttime scene without it being dark. Just perfect. Yeah, if you've not bothered with Ram V, which you should just get the collections, this is a perfect jumping on point. Fresh start, completely fresh start. Fresh flavour, but oh my god, it's so good. 10 out of 10. And moving on to another all-in issue. Of course, they're all going to be all-in basically, but this is by the same writer as Si Spurrier, but with a new artist, Vasco Georgiev, and it's Flash number 14, or legacy numbering 814. Nice Mike Diodato cover. What surprised me about this? It's the same writer, Si Spurrier, and I mentioned on all the other issues what he's done. Sorry, I'm getting nose candles. Nice. But what I mentioned previously is that I enjoyed his strips, but they were very dense. There's a lot of weird sci-fi going on. It felt more like a Vertigo title. It's kind of like he's now he's got rid of that, done his timey-wimey, deep sci-fi, weird sci-fi story out of the way. He's moved on to something much more light-hearted and breezy. So this one, his family had taken a holiday in where is it now? Yes, Skartaris, which is where Warlord lives. It's basically like Marvel, DC's version of Savage Land. And I love the new artwork as well. The colourings are really good. And the new art fits the new tone of the comic. So it's got much more of a vibe of like a classic Mark Waid, touch of a Jeremy Adams Flash, without the extreme fluffiness. But it's still got the sci-fi elements of what he had in his previous storyline. So for those of you who are a bit put off with the weirdness or the dense plotting of the previous story arc what Sainsbury did, this is a great jumping on point because it's done away with all that. It's kept some of the backmatter from it, like his son's future self and so on and so on, but it's much more head. It's much more accessible and less head scratchy. So it doesn't take an hour and a half to read in this time, but I like I said, I really enjoyed his previous storylines, but this is a much less convoluted story, and for that reason, it's getting an 8 out of 10. It's really good fun. This is what I was going to say. This is a new jumping on point, new team of Titans. This is number 16, and it's written by the new writer John Layman, art by Pete Woods. Pete Woods done the cover, and he's also done the colouring as well as the artwork. I've actually ordered the previous 3 issues of the Titans because I've just put it on hold for a bit, so I'll wrap up that storyline because I really had fun with this. John Layman's given a really fresh voice to it. So basically, Flash has decided that he can't be a JLA because Barry Allen now has retired because he's lost his powers because of the absolute power fallout. So Flash is like the Flash now. So Wally West said, I can only do one team, I can't do both. So he stepped down from Titans, but Roy has now joined again, and there's a new leader of the Titans, and it's Wonder Girl. I love that splash page, just a great splash page. And again, the art works so well because he's doing the colouring as well as the inking and penciling, or whatever he's doing, could be digital. And it works really well. And John Layman's got a really good voice for the Titans. I love that the Titans Tower has not been done away with, even though they are on the JLA big satellite, whatever it is that they have. I'm really enjoying the artwork. Some people on League of Comic Geeks are like slagging off the art and thinking, are we reading the same comic? But it's such a negative site that anyway, so I only go on there to see what's coming out. But yeah, it sets up a really interesting premise. Fun, classic villain, Clock King, who's much more powerful than he used to be. And yeah, it's really good fun. I'm only going to give it 7 out of 10 though, because it's basically just laying the groundwork, and I think it's going to improve next issue. So yeah, I do recommend that as well. I tell you, I'm getting a lot of DC. So let's keep it on the all-in bandwagon. Let's just get all this sorted. So next up is Poison Ivy, Swamp Thing, Feral Trees. This is by G. Willow Wilson, who is the regular writer of Poison Ivy. Ivy. I've got the first collection of the first 6 issues. I am going to get the other books as well because she's so good. And she also does, I think she does a really good fantasy series on IDW called The Hunger and the Dusk about orcs and humans, which again, highly recommend. I'm going to get the collected editions of that. And she did quite a bit of Vertigo stuff back in the day. I think one called Air. And she also did one of my favourite runs of non-Neil Gaiman scripted Sandman related books. I think it was the Dreaming or I think it was the Dreaming. She did a 12 issue or something maxi series, which was superb. I did a video about it about a year ago, so if you look at my videos, it'll be on there. I highly recommend it. She's a great writer, very gifted, and yeah, she's got the perfect flavour of Swamp Thing. And of course, she's already doing Poison Ivy. She's done so much to make Poison Ivy more than just a bat villain. She's elevated her in a status. And of course, it's illustrated by Mike Perkins, who did a Black Label Batman series with Dan Jurgens, but he's also the primary artist on Swamp Thing, the Ram V run, which if you've not read, I do recommend because it's chef's kiss. It's up there with the best of Alan Moore and the best of Rick Veitch for Swamp Thing goodness. Yeah, what I classify this as, it's not horror, it's not superhero, it's more like a dark fairy tale. It's got a very dreamlike element to it, and I like how she really invests deep into the lore behind the Parliament of the Trees. It does read very much like a Swamp Thing comic more than a Poison Ivy comic, and she is ably assisted by Mike Perkins. I mean, I love this as well, the contrast of Poison Ivy sleeping and Swampy sleeping. And they do this a lot in the introductory pages, just showing the contrast, parallel panels, where they're kind of like doing the kind of same thing, but it's different. And it's just showing the differences between where Swamp Thing is an elemental and Poison Ivy is a human who's got power over plants. So they're even though they're kind of similar, they're leagues apart as well. But it also reintroduces you to characters that have been in Ram V's Swamp Thing run and also Alan Moore's Swamp Thing run. And like I said, it delves deep into the Parliaments of the Trees. I like this character here, who's great. The dialogue is just so much fun. So basically, it's got elements of an environmental message. It's got elements of how billionaires should be using their money to help the environment instead of poisoning it. And it also tackles things like abuse, but in a very clever way. Whereas some comic strips, like I mentioned with the EC one from last week, or episodes from the Abyss, where it's quite a heavy-handed message about domestic abuse, this one was done in a much more natural way. And when it recounts a certain character's story, Mike Perkins goes into a very like fairy tale kind of like illustration where it's all like slightly faded, it's got like almost like a dreamlike quality. And he really is just one of the best artists out there. This is what I'm loving about DC at the moment. They've got so many good artists, and it'd be hard pressed to say who's the best artist because each one has got a particular strength. But yeah, so it's not just those two. It's got like other characters who've been, like I said, in the whole Swamp Thing mythos. That is just amazing. And it wraps up really well. Like I said, there's hardly any violence. There's hardly any action really. But it's a bloody good story. It's perfect for Halloween. It's kind of spooky. But like I said, it's got this weird like dreamlike feel. The kind of vibe I got from it, don't know if you've ever seen this film, classic 80s British horror, The Company of Wolves, where it was almost like an adult fairy tale. That's what this feels like. It's got a very strong fantasy element to it. Yeah, it's a near perfect comic. Fuck it. I've already done it for a few hours. 10 out of 10. It's really good. I do recommend picking it up. It doesn't matter if you're not following Poison Ivy. Yeah, it's done by the same writer. If you do get Poison Ivy, it'll most likely enhance your experience of reading Poison Ivy. But if, like me, you're more of a Swamp Thing fan, you'll get a lot from it as well for that reason. Yeah, excellent one-shot comic. And next on the All In, carrying on with the weekly trend, it's Action Comics 1072 and 1073. I've noticed that this week's comics for DC, the paper stock, is really, really good. It's like graphic novel good. Not like Marvel's crappy see through the pages. You can't see through it. It's really high quality paper. But anyway, I'm digressing. So I think this runs up till the end of December. Action Comics is in a weekly format. It's written by Mark Waid and art by Clayton Henry. And there's backup strip of Supergirl by Marissa Tamaki, who I love, and Skylar Partridge. The main storyline is really nice. It's some of Clayton Henry's nicest artwork. It's a really good exploration of is it Candor, the city in the bottle, and Monel's in it. It's good. It's just a good superhero. Mark Waid gets Superman. It's good. I like Superman when it goes very sci-fi. This is very sci-fi or sci-fantasy, and the Supergirl story is intriguing enough not for me to keep interested in it. So I would give this an 8 out of 10. And this elaborates on it. I just want to show some of the artwork in this though, because this one I think the artwork is even better. I mean, look at that ship, just amazing. I love this as well when he comes into a different reality. His hand peeking through the clouds there, and he just kind of like pulls himself through. Make full use of the panel layout. And then this city here. What is he doing there? What's going on? Haha, you'll have to read it. And then you've got this beautiful art by Skylar Partridge for Supergirl. Really, really nice. But that one reads more like a Boom comic, which is no slight on it. That's a good compliment. Yeah, 8 out of 10 again for that. I do recommend. Yeah, it's weekly. I'm sure it'll get collected, but I'm having a blast. It's too high quality to not get. I'm really enjoying it. And then a comic that we have to say bye-bye to, and it's very sad, because I love this comic. And this is Zatanna, Bring Down the House by Mariko Tamaki and Javier Rodriguez. And yeah, this is so good. You'll find out why I went like that in a minute. So this is part 5 of the 5-issue miniseries of Zatanna, Bring Down the House, and it's been so good. It leaves it open though, where they can do another series if they want to. Please, DC. I know Javier is going on to Absolute Martian Manhunter. Maybe get Steve Rude or somebody of a similar style to come on and do an ongoing with Mariko Tamaki on Zatanna, because it's been so good. It's the coolest magic book out there, put it that way. It makes Doctor Strange look very conservative and boring. This is what you want in your magic. It's psychedelic. The colours, again, Javier Rodriguez is doing his own colouring. The colours are beautiful. The inking style of his artwork is up there with Steve Rude for that cleanness of line. It's trippy, it's fun. It's trippy, but it makes sense. It's nothing. I didn't read any page thinking, what the hell's going on here? All of it made sense, and it's just a joy to read. Normally, a comic like this takes about 15 minutes. It took me about half an hour because I was just soaking in each page, so I didn't miss any detail. Because there's little panels. Like this page, all this layout. So you got that, got this little panel layout here. It's just satisfying, and it ends in a way very satisfyingly, not abruptly, but it does what it needs to do to wrap up the story, and it finishes on really happy notes as well, because it leads into how we know Zatanna nowadays. 1 second. My leg's gone dead. Don't try and stand up when you've got heels on and you've got a dead leg. Not good. Not very gainly, not very ladylike. Anyway, so next up is issue 10. I think there's a number 11, and then that wraps it up. But this is issue 10 of John Constantine, Hellblazer Dead in America. Hopefully, fingers crossed, they'll do another series with Vertigo coming back. Please. Gorgeous cover. So this wraps up the storyline from last issue. It's kind of got like a meta commentary of the film industry of Hollywood, but also meta commentary on John Constantine and how he uses and abuses people. And the art by Aaron Campbell, again, is next level. I don't think he does the colouring on it. Yeah, it's Judgeable on Colours, who's one of the best colour artists out there, but art. There's so many different art styles what he utilizes in this to evoke different moods and generates different plot points. Again, it's by Sci Spirit. This is a very, very dense read. I always leave this to the last so I can just take my time, not miss anything in the. Each word is not wasted. There's a lot of words, but it's not wasted. It's not flabby. It's not words for words' sake. Each word means something, and you look back, you flick back a page, go, so that's why that happened. That kind of satisfying read. But I mean, look at that layout. Well, there's no framing, but you don't get lost in the page. Got to be careful with this because there's some bloody graphic stuff and there's some kind of like bit of nudity as well. It's a comic for adults. And yeah, John Constantine, not teen but Tyne, he's English. John Constantine, it's like Mark Miller is Mark Miller, it's not Millar. Somebody knows that they're saying it wrong, but they keep on doing it. It's Miller. Miller. I don't know why I said that, but no, I do, because I'm one of those horrible people who pick people up on stuff like that. Anyway, I've lost my track. What was it? I was shaking my brain then. So apparently there's going to be a final issue, but even if there wasn't, it'd be a satisfying conclusion. But obviously it's dead in America, so there's got to be a final issue because that's referencing John Constantine. So we shall see what we shall see next issue. But yeah, 9 out of 10. Wonderful, wonderful series. Now this is a fat boy. $4.99, but you get 48 story pages in this. 48. It's by Tate Brombell, who does Christopher Chaos from Dark Horse, which is a really good, like, Universal Monsters meets Hellboy meets CW kind of storyline. Really, really good. And Wefdo Deladera is the artist who does Something Is Killing the Children. So this is like a very dark reimagining of what the Green Lantern could be. I think this kind of Green Lantern, I think they first appeared in like the Tangent series, what was done a few years back, where it wasn't mashups, it's like alternate versions of superheroes of what they could have been. I think that was it. But anyway, it's good. But there's one thing that threw me out. The artwork is really good. So basically, Solomon Grundy is the big bad in this, and it's like a horror comic. So he infects people, so they become like zombies, and they come out at night, and one bite from them, and you become like them. And then there's this woman who's a Green Lantern, but not like the normal Green Lanterns. And there's this girl who follows her devotedly with a brother and a mum. Now, spoilers, their mum gets killed and gets turned into one of the zombies. And the one thing that threw me out, if my mum, who's passed away, but she's still alive, and if she got turned into a zombie, I wouldn't go up to the Green Lantern and go, hey, let me help. Hey, I can be really beneficial to you, blah, 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 blah. The girl and her brother had not even 1 second of remorse that their mum had just been killed. They went, all right, okay, let's do this. No, Tate, listen. I enjoyed the story, it was really good, but give your characters humanity. If they've lost the parents who's raised them from birth, they're going to be devastated. They're not just going to go, right, let's go on to the next task. So that threw me out of what could have been a really good comic. So for that reason, artwork 9 out of 10, story 6 out of 10, but hopefully it improves next issue. But it did niggle me that. Think about your characters. If somebody gets impacted severely by their parent being killed, they're going to have a reaction. Okay, you can just make it last for a page or whatever, and then think, right, suck it up because I've got to help. But at least acknowledge it. Don't just think, oh, it's just a plot point. No. You've got to give your characters a bit of humanity. So, yeah, so 6 overall, 6 out of 10, but artwork 9 out of 10. So that's it for my DC part of my review channel. My review, whole review episode. Oh, God. haul review episode for this week. Hopefully tonight or tomorrow-ish, or it could even be Monday, I'll do the other part, which is the indie side and the one Marvel comic. And I've been looking at previews as well for January. Because as I said, as you saw, there's about 11 or 12 issues there, and I've still got about 11 or 12 comics to show you, and I've not read those yet, so that's what I'll be doing tonight. So yeah, I won't be doing another film tonight. So hope you all had a really nice weekend. Hope you have got some really fun comics yourself. Let me know what you're reading, what you're loving. Are you really enjoying the All-In's run like I am? Are you enjoying Ghost Machine? Are you enjoying Marvel? It'd be great just to leave your comments. What are your favourite comics of this year? I don't want to do it. I'm not going to do it. Oh, no. I was going to say like, subscribe, but oh, fuck me, that's so cheesy. But if you like my channel, just follow it. If you don't, fine. But if you want to recommend me, do so, but it's not essential. Just do what you want to do. Okay, bye, 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 bye.